Minuteman Civil Defense Corps executive team traveled by car to Denver to meet with our Colorado state and chapter organizations to hold a day-long border security anti-illegal immigration rally. Approximately 200 Minutemen volunteers and supporters attended the day-long rally, including many in the media, who of course grossly underestimated our attendance, of course making that the major story, rather than the fact that we were issuing a public challenge to Senator McCain and Senator Obama to pledge that they would not give amnesty and secure our borders with military assets to protect the citizens of the United States and to ensure our national security.
We know what the media loves. They love conflict because it sells.
Illegal immigration really is part of this agenda. It's really not about bringing in cheap labor. I mean, that might be a side benefit, but it's not the real reason. The real reason is explained by the North American Union to unite us with Mexico and Canada and eventually the other regional unions of the world. And as was America, Mexico, Canada, and the rest of the world, is an obsolete idea that we really should just be one world. The idea that we really should just be one world. The idea that we really should just be one world.
Because there's always a fig leaf can be invented. That's what Hitler was good at. You think that when he took over Austria, he didn't have a good fig leaf to put out there as to why it was okay to conquer that country? When he moved into the Sudetenland, when he finally invaded Poland and all these places, he had all the good pretexts. They're hurting our people.
Or the next president of the United States has an opportunity to actually once and for all end this most divisive issue in America today, and to bring it into the name-calling, to bring it into the social friction that's growing in communities around the country, and to establish true national security and ensure our public safety by securing our borders. It's a simple thing. What a great way to start off an administration and to establish a legacy as the next president, is it not? To tell the American people and commit to us and to ensure our security and ensure our sovereignty. I mean, what a great message that would be. Regardless of what party you're from, and this isn't about partisan politics, what a great way to establish your legacy by telling the American people that we mean something, that we're valuable, that there should be no expense or resource spared when it comes to our national security and our protection. And what kind of message also would it send to those outside our borders who mean us harm, who are bent on destroying America? What kind of message would that send to Iran or any radical terrorist organization when the next president of the United States says, my first act as commander-in-chief will be to protect the American people by using our military, our National Guard, our resources, our tax dollars to ensure that our borders are secure. Everybody agree? I mean, that's what we want. I think it would send a strong message to anyone who has designs on entering this country illegally to do us harm, that we're not going to tolerate that. Now, of course, we need to also take a look at who's entering our country legally and to make sure that we know who they are, where they are, and what their intentions are. And make sure that when their time, their visitor's pass has expired, that we know where to find them, and we invite them to leave the same way we invited them to join us. And to say, you're welcome to come back. And please get in line and come back again and visit the United States and enjoy the benefits of being here inside our boundaries. At a time in history when we are fighting a war against radical terrorists, we've been fighting a war on drugs for how many decades? Phony war on drugs. And we're fighting a war against gangs and criminals who've entered this country illegally to pray not to do those jobs Americans won't do, as President Bush says, but to commit the crimes that we allow them to commit thanks to sanctuary laws in cities around this country and law enforcement or mayors or city councils who refuse to enforce the laws equally. At a time when we're at a battle against human trafficking, it is imperative the next president pledge to the American people that our national security and sovereignty will be one of his preeminent constitutional concerns. We're joining with other national leaders here at the Democratic National Convention today to demand that the next Commander-in-Chief respond to American interests and voters' concerns over our porous and unsecured borders. Clearly, 80% of voters agree that the next president must do more to secure our borders. That's why the Minuteman Civil Defense Corps is delivering a principled and practical plan to all presidential and congressional candidates. Millions of people who are not here, who realize that they have to work and do other things, will take this message to the RNC, will take it to the halls of Congress, will take it to Obama and McCain's campaign headquarters, and force them either to express their opinion about border security through their silence, or actually sign that pledge. Wouldn't that be nice if we had them actually say, we support the people of the United States? Well, you know, this could be Obama right now, or McCain. Wow. And for our next speaker, as soon as they land, it's a surprise guest speaker. I forgot to tell you, Hillary was going to be here to take this.
Money can cross borders, products can cross borders.
All right.
Exploitation that happens across.
I don't know, something in me just makes me want us to say, hey, hey, ho, ho, hey, hey, stupid kids go away. But I don't think that would be the, ignorant kids. What?
It's not nice.
That's all right.
We have to be
America is a wonderful country. And the fact that, 4 people with a kindergarten megaphone, I think is a great thing. Make their voice be heard. It's a wonderful thing. And in fact, I'd like to personally thank these folks that came out today to cheer us on, because it just wouldn't have been the same without them, I've got to say. I was a little disappointed. I put in an order for a larger group, but apparently they were busy. So, but I really want to thank the folks that came on this side today. We've had a bigger crowd, we have a smaller crowd. The speakers that we've had, I think have, well, at least for me, they've been inspirational. Every time that I hear Tom Tancredo, every time that I hear Alan Keyes, every time I hear any of the folks that have put themselves on the line, both politically and physically, to stand up for what is right, that makes me proud to be an American.
They called me the Oreo. They called me the Uncle Tom. The list goes on. All these names. Now, we don't call anyone any names. We go out there and we do what we do best. To bring awareness to a problem. Look where we're at today. We weren't there a few years ago. Now, oftentimes, I call the illegal immigrant, he and she are really not to be blamed. They do, I will personally cast some blame on them, but they're not totally to blame. I consider them to be the silver bullet of an agenda from elsewhere. They are the silver bullet. They're being victimized, they're being used, they're being exploited in essentially 5 or 6 different ways, if not more. Mexico constantly calls us names, says we're a bunch of racists, we're a bunch of hoods, we're a bunch of killers. Well, if that's the case, and I've sent the message not to both presidents, both to President Calderon and Fox, both. If you're so compassionate, what the hell are you doing exporting your people to the United States and putting them and making them go through those type of conditions? If you love your people, you'll do something for them. And I'll tell you something else. A lot of people consider Mexico to be a poor nation. It's a fallacy. It's the fifth wealthiest nation in the world. 5th wealthiest. 2 classes of people. The rich and the poor. And guess what's happening in the United States? And guess why it's happening and how it's happening? Who's their silver bullet? How is that happening?